to finish some union in Hilchot Kosher here. I decided to leave the twist ties that Rabbi talked about and that other people referenced. And if you remember, the bottom line was it's a machlekes. Doesn't help us much. There's a large literature on this, including 3 very big footnotes in the Shemir Shabbos Chasa and otherwise. So I don't know how to handle this exactly. I could do it, but I want to give Schus Kedima, Rabbi Kallah, and then I'd prefer to chazer it as a chazara on what he says, as opposed to me going through it with you. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but it will happen. In Hashem Billy Neder. Okay, so
we just finish up to like this kind of stunning end on Thursday, where we have this matzahs wrapped up in a string, and it's got a knot on it, and all you can do is stare at it. Well,
do you like that? I threw that curveball out there to Rabbi.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at the non-response.
Well, he did respond. I think you watched a halachic analysis being unfolded. A little, I guess it was unfair of me to ask, but at his level, you're allowed to do that, right? And you watched him struggle with it. I mean, a young Rabbi Geli was much more makel.
So what weight do we give to the Yam Shel Shlomo? Either he controls or he doesn't.
Well,
I mean, essentially he electrified, he notifies the whole string. Otherwise, you could completely undercut the melech of kosher, because you just snip it off anywhere and you've done nothing. You undone it completely.
Although you can always wiggle the string off. I always found
no. If it's too tight, it cuts into the cart and you can't.
We're not talking about the mitzvahs. You can wriggle it up. You can wriggle it off. There's nothing to talk about. We don't discuss mitzvahs here. We discuss the halachic implications. I can't. In my boxes, you can't wriggle them off. In fact, as I said, it's worse because the plastic, those ties around the plastic, they also come with ksharim because they come in belts and stuff like that. And you got to cut. So you need a heter for nituk, and there is a kesher there somewhere. I'm not sure. I have to try to remember. I know that those things have belt. I don't know. It's just a complicated mess. As far as the strings are concerned, we thought he would say that the nituk shaloi b'makom kesher is mutter because it's an issur drabanan lidvar mitzvah. Is that correct? That's how Rabbi Geli came out. So for some reason he didn't go that way, and we don't know why. Why didn't he go that way? And we're not expecting what happened on Thursday, same as you. I wasn't expecting him to struggle with this the way he did. I would have thought that it's mutter. We talked about, at some length, we talked about Makkah Mitzvah, which was Medida. I don't see why, eating matzah is not as much a big Makkah Mitzvah of Paikikin as a gummy. We also talked about how he was scrambling around looking for a eichel nefesh that is mutter, an eichel nefesh that's mutter, both Shabbos and Yantiv, because it wasn't an eichel nefesh, eichel nefesh. It was an eating food eichel nefesh. Remember, somebody off camera, maybe that was Rabbi Goldstein, asked him this question. That's not the same eichel nefesh as normal. I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out on the spot, same as you. I have to talk to my son-in-law again to ask him, chazer over in his heter. I have it written up here somewhere so I can look at it. I'm not sure. You know what? Let's see if I can.
The Yam Shel Shlomo is a very sharp svara. It makes sense. It just makes life very difficult.
Which svara are you talking about?
That essentially that the knot notifies the whole rope, the whole string. That you're cutting anywhere. It's the effect of cutting open the knot. Because otherwise the kesher is meaningless if you just snip it anywhere. There's no matir.
The Yom Shlomo that you don't do it l'fnei amar. It's that one. That's what you mean?
No, my understanding was Yom Shlomo says by tying the knot, you essentially turn the whole string into a big knot. So cutting it anywhere is like matir.
Right. Right, but that Yom Shlomo is not brought halacha in the Mishabura, as far as I remember. Right.
So there shouldn't be a problem then.
There shouldn't be a problem. Well, first of all, why shouldn't it be a problem if you're cutting the kesher?
No, if you're not. No, you're not cutting the kesher. You're cutting the string.
Okay, fine. So now you're already making a heter for cutting the kesher. Okay, just give me a second. Let me see if I can find. It's here on my desk, buried under 15 different pieces of paper. But just let me see if I can find the last shtickle that he sent me. Matir. Okay, I got it. Now let's see.
You could almost take it one step further, according to Chazon Ish. By tying the knot, you've done bona because you turned the whole string into a knot when it wasn't before.
No, that's we rejected that. That's not Derek Baina. It's just not Baina. Okay. So we went through the here the Magen of Ram. The Magen of Ram brings us Yom Shlomo on the you mentioned the Alpis the Kasher Shekashrei Uman Beis Tzava Asl Chatchai Nikshu Mashich Zakatainas Shul Asl Tir B'Yaymayim Kamnir Shemein Raglat Kesh Zakatayin Sel Mishav the Shabbos Asur Kalshin Asl Tir B'Yayma Asur B'Rabban Tir B'Shabbos Mikra Ktas Kesh Shel Kayama. Shulchan Atashitim. Kol Kesher Shemutal Atira Meni Yachal Tir Mutal Not Guy. Akba Mutal Tira Mutal Not Guy. Loiba Asr Latirai. Kol Kesher Bel Mashain Shachla Din Tikkun. Asl Not Kesh Asl Latir. But Kalkut to Bedin Matak Asl Lay. Okay. Til David. Ramah. Ramah the Doich Ois Beresha Kesher. Okay, I have to go through this again, and then we'll try to come up with some sort of a answer to your question. I heard enough about this to be able to say that enough about this to be able to say that the preferred thing to do is to one second. Preferred thing to do is to cut it up before Shabbos. Okay, so while we're at it here, this is what I want to talk about matir. So let's talk a little bit about matir here to close our sidra here, and then maybe we'll have a better idea. So the Isser of matter comes from this Kter Shava, so to speak, of the Mishnah, which says Kashem Shechayev al Kishurun, Kaich Chayev al Teiran, and the Rambam says Kol Kesher Chayev al Kishrei, Kach Chayev al Tirei. And the same is Kol Kesher Shah Kosher Potter, Kach Mater Potter, and V'chol Shemuter is Muter. All three Gedarim of Kosher apply to Mater. And therefore, just as the Rambam's Chiddush of a Paisel Psilim is Kesher, a Mafer的 Pasil is a Telda of Mater, as long as it is not Kilkul.
Is there a Shiur for Posel Psilim?
Trying to remember. Trying to remember. We talked about the shiur of kosher in general. I think the answer to that would be Selim, 2. You ask me if you need more than 2, or you ask me if there's a shared the length of the string. I don't know.
No, according to the Rambam, what do you have to be over?
You have to take string of indeterminate length, 2 of them, and twine them together. Taifa requires 2 tefillos.
Right.
Kesher does not. Kesher requires a double knot to be chai b'daraisa, as we said. And if in fact Paisel Psilim is the svara of Paisel Psilim is the chibur the svara that everybody talks about, including Rabbi Zucker, so then a chibur, 2 things, is the chibur. You connect things when there's 2. Why should you need 3? I assume you're asking me about the number of psilim, correct?
Yeah.
You're not asking me. I don't think so. I don't see a reason for that to be. Okay, so we talked about already in the first half of the matter discussion about the question of whether or not there has to be al nas likshar or not. Therefore, not going to repeat that again. I just want to finish up here some open issues here on matter which we did not get a chance to discuss. If you remember, the Gemara's maskana and kosher, and therefore matter was the tziyadei chalazin. So, in the machlekes that we had in the Rishonim, when you need abnas likshar, the Rosh says that according to the maskana of the Gemara that it's chalazin, and there was al matir abnas likshar. That's the etzem tzur the malacha. That's the av that you chayiv in the mischa. Okay. However, the Rosh is not unchallenged. The Ritva says, who says chalazon was mato abnas likshar? Who says could be that the matir was done to get rid of it because it was unfixable. They had to open up this net, and then it turns out they will matter it, and it didn't work, and therefore you have to make a new one. So who says dafke? It's a matter amnas likshar. Okay, that's the kasha that the Rufta asks. Lav dafka, the mitzias is lav dafka matter amnas likshar. I was thinking Benegeya, and I have to go find but why would this be another heter for opening up the box? Because at the end of the day, you are being matir, correct? Not shalom, not slikshar. We came up with makalkali, throw the string out. Anybody tie the matzah box back?
No.
What?
No, you pitch the string.
You dish the string, so it's not matzah, not slikshar. So according to this Rishonim, all of a sudden can't be Nisa Deraisa at all. So that's another reason for it to be Nisa Rabbanim. Another Chiddush Ritva says that if you're matter something, I'll likshire, I'm not likshire, even if I hold you need that to be mechayev, you're matter of not likshire, but makayim acher, another part of the net, that's not considered to be matter al manas likshire. It has to be matter al manas likshire dafke in the net itself. Okay, so now we have an interesting issue. The Levush says that according to those shitas, Yechayev al manas likshire, if you are kosher it back, you have to be kavanah to be kosher back on Shabbos. But if you're kavanah,
by the way, you got a Metzias problem too, right? Because if it's tight and you cut it, there's nothing left to tie.
So not a Metzias problem, a Metzias heter.
So how can you? Yeah, so it can't be a Malvanas licture because it's impossible to retie it.
I agree. I'm looking for a heter here. I'm looking for a heter. Is it not possible to retire? So that's a good question. What's the answer to him? I don't know what this chicken here is for Pesach. You'd decided not to become a chicken. I don't know what this is all about. What's the retort? Huh?
I'm a shochet.
What?
That's actually a rooster, and to become a certified shochet, you have to shech the rooster because they're harder to handle than chickens.
Very nice. Okay. Not sure what this is negated to our current mood. If we're learning the idea, we should have
That's my symbol. That's my symbol.
You're a rooster?
That's what my symbol is on my emails. Yes.
Out of all the things in the world that you could have chosen to symbolize yourself, you've chose a rooster. Got
Kosher
it?
animal. It's okay.
That's fine. No problem because of the kashrus. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I certainly respect your choice. I wasn't arguing with it. I was raising my eyebrows about it. Okay, fine. You're right. You put an elephant there. That's a non-kosher animal. Anyway, back to this. So, do you need kosher almanas to be kosher during Shabbos or even afterwards? This turns out to be a machlekes in the poskim. Meaning, if your kavanah is to be kosher back after Shabbos, you're not chayiv, because the kosher, the matra almanas likshar has to be almanas likshar on Shabbos, which is obviously a big kula. And the shabura that any paskin and any malacha that you chayiv such a way that you're being mekalchel almanas v'takein, it's still not good enough, even if it's after Shabbos too. So this is not an exact mushal, but it's pretty clear. Let's see if we can find this Mishabura. The Mishabura is in Shin Mem. It's in Shin Mem, I think. I think it's in Shin Mem. Yeah, it's in Shin Mem. Yud Gimel. And then we'll go back to the Yom Shlomo and our matzah box.
Which sif seven in Mishabura?
Sifkatan, I think it's, I'm 100% sure, I think it's Yud Gimel. No. Is this Shemem? No, so it's the wrong one. Okay, let's try Shem Yud Zayin. Maybe it's Yud Gimel Yud Zayin. Let me look. I wrote that, but I can't. I didn't remember which seven I'm talking about. I just wrote down Yud Gimel. Yeah, it's Shin Yud Zayin. I apologize. She'en shel kayama. Hainu afilu asul zman. Kasim say verse Meir. Shamash hetzka shulchan aruch the mutter b'makim mitzvu rak das Rambam ve'hatur. Avlo Rashi v'tais by Tanur mitzvah the kesher asra afilu b'makim mitzvah. Okay, and this opens up the question we had earlier, that why did a matter do a kesher, which is us only midrabanan tzarich mitzvah? You can be matter it. You can do it in Eifin and Mutter. You should do it on Das Latir by Biyam. This is the kasha they all had on the Taz. Okay, and from Zalman said that the Mocha Mitzvah did not aser a kesher the Rabbanon just simply wasn't usher, and therefore there's no questions to ask about it. All right, let's revisit this Yom Shlomo here and see if we can figure out the business with the strings here. I too was very surprised by this discussion. I threw it out just to get him to say, yeah, it's a makkah mitzvah, and benituk, it's not usher, and you can just open it up, and it's mutter. But he didn't say that. So let's figure out why not. So the Yom Shlomo that we mentioned earlier, which is brought in the Magen Avraham and Sivkat Yadalf, says the following: talking about the shirt which come back from the yes, excellent. The shirt which come back from the have ritzuyos. A lot of be menatik it or not. Okay, it's a Yud Aleph in the Mishabura. Beautiful. Shari Ein Asal Tir B'Chol Zman Sharoitza. Bavzel Yasif Ne'am Aretz. Yeah, this is the same after Elbet Sina. Some would not know what the heter is. So what's the heter, Dr. Snyder? What's the heter? What does the Magram tell the Yam? What's the heter? Eina Asi El Tir B'Chol Zman Sharoitza. It was designed to be open and closed all the time. Because back when it's all the shul is dafka kishkaysher uman aslan natkan. Of a shak shir shari, the main ragul hatar kesh l'tain sam shav the Shabbos asr. This is the problem here. Any kesher that's mutter to be matter, it's mutter to be menatikit, and a kesher that's asr la'atirai is asr to be menatikit. This is how the Mishabura, Shulchan Aruch Harav, and Mishabura, and Sivkat and Chav Gimel explain it. Now, I have to apologize to Rabbi Snyder, because earlier when he mentioned something that's possible that the spring could be Makkah Patish, I dismissed it. And now I remember in our previous discussion of this, there was such a shita, a little bit of outlier shita, but it's a legitimate shita. The Sefer Taisus Shabbos says that the reason that the Magen Avraham holds that Asad did Menatikit is because it's Tikkun and nothing to do with Mater, and therefore the whole complexion changes here because Tikkun Mana there's no Heterim for a mitzvah. But let's go with the normative. Heter. No problem. So we have a problem here that the Magen Avraham brings this Yom Shlomo, and at the end of the day he says Kol kesher that's mutter latira is mutter not guy, and the kesher that's any asla latira is also not too. We have an analogy or a tzad shava between nituk and seiser. So the Mishabura in Sifkat Chav Gimel of Pesach, if you can take us there for a moment, explains this Yom Shlomo. The following way. Let's see can I get away cheat and not do the Ramah? No. We have to see Gimel in the Mechaber. Okay, so let's go back to the master if you can. I don't know if let's go back to the master because the master has all this laid out, and we just basically need the Mishapura and the rest. We can talk out. We can talk out. Yeah. No, our master, Kosher master, not Rabbi Kallah, the Kosher master at Tazai. So beautiful. So Chav Gimel. Let's see the Mechaber and Gimel. First the Mechaber and Gimel. I think you'll have to walk backwards. No, where's Gimel? No, this is Aleph. Do we not have Sif Gimel? Mordechai, where's Sif Gimel?
This is Aleph.
Right.
This here is Aleph.
I know, no.
It's not in this set.
It's which one?
We don't have it in this set.
Gimel's not in this set?
No.
Okay, so Pesach, let's go back. You go right.
It was in the set that I prepared for Rabbi
Rabbi
Gelli.
Weiss? For which one?
Rabbi Gelli.
Rabbi Gelli?
Yeah, it was in that set that I prepared for that shiur.
How are we going to find that?
Let's use this.
You want to use your books? Okay, you know I don't like your books, but we're going to use it. Material based at Savar B'Kesh Kesher Koives, and Kesher Chayama, but you can't open it because it's Tikkun Mon. Haga, says Ramah. Afilu Kfar Niftach, you can't even tell what Ramah is here because the size of the letters is not so clear. Rak Shecha, this is Ramah. Kasha Tapiach, that's Ramah. Kain Asla not take. I lachte Zug Shlomanala, Matro Yachad. Myself got fear Einet Shal Kiyama. Then Kiyama Shain Shal Kiyama, Besh Matirin, Ein Later Fneamar. Okay, so this is this space Yosef. So the Mishabura in Chav Gimel says, B'Sefer Yam Sheslam Custom. Times as Gasha Mashich Liachal Hater. Sorry, Lakula Amal Anat. There ain't also a tier b'chozman shiur to play mikra kesher. Ba'avzel yasar sel b'tzinor. Kochta limit is really up to some davkish kazum mekshar asam not kashak shir sorry. King custom magen of Ram. Okay, so Mr. Rabbi just quotes the Yam Shlomo as brought the magen of Ram. I'm after the kashar umam b'shas lakish the b'shamakat shchaytchim benat kach mar golacha. You can't do it because it's usher. Okay, so why should these matzah strings be usher to be menatek it? So if you look at the Mishabura in Chav Hey, the Mishabura here says aslan not take on the shoes, but time never shum do chasha kriyal manasa takein. Kesha as malay tzmidus from kesha amitza shalakudei in Yehudi. They have shvus to shvus. Okay, so first of all, before we get to the guy, which is not so real world, not going into your seder to start opening up the packages. I guess you could if you have a guy living in your house, whatever. Is this string a kesher amitz? I don't think so. Do they make double knots in these strings? Maybe they do. I don't know what the Metzias is. I don't know what says. I do remember that I always struggle with it every year, and I use a knife and I cut it open. Now I know it's not so much. No, I know it's not so much. So this is another example of the good thing that comes out of learning this be'iyun. So to make matters worse, the Hila David says that in order to be chayiv, you don't have to have this nituk, according to the Yam Shemagad of Ram, you don't have to have the nituk anywhere near the kesher. Even if you're not to get in the middle, you're also chayiv.
It's consistent. That makes sense.
Right. It makes sense because if you think about the lumdus here, what's the lumdus? The
lumdus
is.
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
The whole thing is the whole string is one big knot. So wherever you're matter it, you're effectively undoing the knot.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll take it one step further. That if Meleches Kosher is chibur between two chalakim, this is where Bezukah went, and Meleches Matir is hafrada of this chalakim. So why do you have to be menatek get that to kesher? Wherever you're being mafred, you're being mafred. I guess that's what you meant, right?
Yeah, same. Yeah, yes.
Right, and therefore, the hatara and kesher are polar opposites of each other. Once the kesher was made, it's mechuber, and once you're menatek it, what's the difference? Where you being menat with, then it's ice mechuber.
Right.
So the way to get the heter here is to make it into an Issa D'Rabbanan, and then somehow to get it into the bar mitzvah. So why is it not good enough?
Maybe it's not a kesher shel kaima because the guy who tied it had in mind it's only going to last till Pesach.
Doesn't help us. Only Taz holds that makes a difference. We pass not like the Taz, like we hold like the Bishmeir. We saw the Mishabura pass like Bishmeir that it's negaya to how strong the kesher is. So it doesn't matter how long he thought or how long he didn't think. What if you decided to use your Pesach Matzah, Pesach Sheni?
Especially probably when they tied the boxes back in
Yeah, there's
Hanukkah,
another
when they
issue
baked
here.
them.
Another issue. Why is it a Korea? Maybe Kriyas the Chut is not even matter at all. Maybe it's Korea. So the Birlacha in our back in the Chaisleis said that's the whole Issa of Korea Shalem that's lit for is only an oifen that it's shayach to be tight for the Korea, and they made it Gzeira. But if it's not shayach, then they didn't ask for Rabbanan, because if the Agdara Malachas Mater is to be Mafar the Chibur, the Agdara Malachas Korea is a different Agdara. And that is to be Mechalik a Dover Shalem. Remember, you take a piece of paper and you rip it, you be Mechalik a Dover Shalem. So if you're being a Korea Chevel, that's not Matir. Maybe the Chituk of the Chevel is not called a Hafrada, it's called a Kriya. Hear the Svara? If you have two strings tied together, we understand why it's Matir. But if you have one string and knotted together, it's all one string. So you don't really have anything that is machmar Yereim, that is not at the end of one string. Machmar, according to that side in the Avnei Ezer, that you can have kosher on one string. But maybe here, it's not correct. It's not matir. You can not take a string with a knife. It's not matir. It's koireya. And then
Why is the string not a choslos?
So it could be it's a chaysleis, but chaysleis is only a gzeira, So I don't know. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to the notes that Rabbi Geli sent me. Hold on. Leches matir. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? In order to, what time is it? 8:40. We only have 20 minutes left, 25 minutes. So let me see if I can send it to Pesach or Mordechai. And you guys can put it on the screen and we'll take out to see if we can figure out where the heter came from. Okay, Kallah Kodim Zacha. Okay, so the first part of the discussion here, that's tikkun mana, it's not kesher, it's not matir. Nituk is not matir at all. Okay. Then he brings the shulchan atishitim. Mutul not to ksoines, cause not tikkun mana. It's all tikkun mana. None of it is matir. Then he brings the Chayadim and says, V'nichtab melechas kaireya. If you remember those few words, that's mashmitz kaireya. Makapatish kaireya, everything except not matir. The only place we found is Tila David. He says that is matir, but he's not sure. It brings the right from the Lashon of the Gemara. Kesher, Aniva. Okay, Rabbi Sai, it seems to me that I don't see a clear pathway. Other the person who seems to be the most machmer here is Attila David, who would say that this is in the category of matir. Okay, look up here. Go into the second page here. You guys want to put it up? The second page? Yeah. Second page. Basically, scroll down to the next page. I want to show you the island one paragraph here. Keep on going. Here, Chemashmad Levi at the end of the paragraph. Shechachitim. Aydin psikas chut nechol nekaisha mater. It's only in the Yarchei Shlomo, which is chesamais. So why should any of this be mater? And then he goes how this is the chayadim is all tikkun mana. I'm saying to very much main regular keep on going down. Strike down. El Natkai. Okay, freeze it. Question rebel to us on Natkai. That's a chayadim who everybody said the problem here. The problem here is according to the mother of Ram, who's maitik this yam shleima, a kesher is not regular atirai chol yoim is asl Natkai. That's the problem. So how could you open up the box? So there's four possible malachas here. There's tikkun mana, makapatish. Okay, with the baina, you want to say baina, not mustaver, and there's possibly korea and there's mater. Those are the four possible malachas. And no one, he says, specifically says that nituk is mater. And they all say it's even according to the Chayadim, it's Pesach Pesach Tzavar, which is a psicha, which is a makopatish. Then he says, if you look at the Chayadim ends three strange words, v'nichtav malaches koreya, it's mashbet in koreya, and then he says koreya not makopatish, but it's not mater. We're struggling to find out where would be mater. At the end of the day, scroll down, Pesach. End of the day, the only shita that we found that this should be mater is the Tila David. So it's really not a kesher uman. I think that's reasonably clear. Maybe it's tuk sharim, maybe it's not. I do remember, by the way, infuriatingly, I don't know, Pesach mentioned earlier you can slip it off. It's not true because if you can just slip it off, then they wouldn't accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. What they're trying to accomplish is keep the box closed for obvious reasons, because they don't wrap it. So people want the box closed before Pesach. They bring it to their house for Pesach. There's all comments around. They want to make sure that the string closes the box and the box is not open. So that those strings, I remember trying to open them up, and they're not simple at all to open up. And I remember there was some pretty tough knots there. But he brings the Chayadam is Korea, but it's not mater. So where do we get a heter here, Medina mater? Scroll down here, please. Chaser b'shem malachis matir. Freeze. Shloisha Gedalia Paiskim. All of them say that Amnon says none of them is matter. Isi b'sifrei ha-malaktim shekavu la'alach she'asa lachtech hachutim shem iser matter. What would that be? He goes through many Makaris trying to find where matter is, and he can't find it anywhere. The only place we found it was Atil David. So if it's not Makwa Patish, which L'cher it isn't, and it's not Kaireya, which L'cher it isn't, and it's not Mater, so L'cher it should be Mutter. But why is it not Asim Shemater? That's the question. Okay, everybody say, I don't know the answer just now. I don't know the answer. Scroll down. Scroll down, Rav Pesach. Also, okay. All this is, that's like my trust. I'm going to do. I'd rather try to trust like the gam. Also, lahat like tem the rach. Also, lahat to mutter. And then in the note 70 says the Tila David doesn't even say that this is the Shulchan Aruch Rab's heter svara that's dependent on nituk is the same as matir. I don't know. Keep on going down. One more page, and then we'll try to make a sikum here. Hina Mishavula Dibur Zebla Hedja brings in Sifkach and Gilly brings the Graz and Kesha Kataines. Leil Himshav Shab lots of Natek. Graz Klau, so it's not the Graz. And then he brings the Mishabura. Okay, so yellow, this is what I was looking for. Item Mishabura Sivkat Zion. Kalkesh Mutlatir Many Yachatir Mutlanatka. Umashma the Rak Mutlatira Mutlanatka. Leba Ashalatira. Why should he be allowed to matter this box? String in the box. Okay, obviously it's a pretty strong raya that the whole business is matter. So why should you're not allowed to make two ksharim, and even if it's not two ksharim, it's still aser midrabanan, even with one kasher. So why should the undoing it not be matter? Okay, Rabbi said we're gonna have to do some more. He says the Malaktim bring this question. So let's take one quick look at the Malaktim. I did not see it in Archas Shabbos. Did not see the cutting strings. Kasu Achrayna, Kol Kesher Shabbat Latir Mutla Naklei, unless it's Neam Aretz, that's the Yamsha Shlomo. There's a bard on the Kesher Asla Tirai, Asal Natkei. Even Shalem Makim Kesher. And then in Nandalid, Rabbi's the Archas Shabbos says, where does this Yamsha Shlomo come from? Doesn't make any sense. L'chayra, just as Malachas Machshavs the Kesher is Etzem Kshira, Mata should be the Isuk Bataras Kesher. How do you know that Chituch Shalem Makim Kesher, which has no Shem Malacha, it should be Aser? Okay, it comes down to the way I see it, Rabbi say, it comes down to whether or not you're chayshish for the Yamsha Shleima. Mr. Burr brings the Yamsha Shleima. Magdavar brings the Yamsha Shleima. So it's mashav they are chayshish Yamsha Shleima. There are kashas on it. Archas Shabbos says mechatesa that this should be meleches achsheves. The meleches of kasher requires you to think kesher. So the meleches of mater should be requiring you to think mater. Natik nituk cutting it, not meleches machshavas of matter. You're not tying, so you should be matter. And he has this kasha in the Yam Shleima, but the Mishnah Berurah brings the Yam Shleima. So we need a reason, a way to get around this Yam Shleima, how to say it should be mutter. Certainly, as he said, it's asher shliasha kain maretz. And then there's a whole discussion, as you can see, whether it's makupatish, tikumana, or whether it's kareach, who said it's matter b'chlal. So why is it mutter? What heter should we use to cut the string? Okay, Rabbi, so we're going to leave this as an open question. I'm going to have to revisit this because I don't see a clear maskana here. Go down a little bit more, Pesach. Let's see if, oops. Rav Mordechai, why have you here on the whatever? We have the Rav Asher Shir for tomorrow?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Oh yeah, we also, I think, should prepare one for next Sunday. Why not? Why not? We'll be traveling or whatever. Yeah, we'll be traveling. So let them learn on Sunday. No, Chayra?
Why not?
Why not? We got to find something. Okay, Rabbi Site, we're going to leave this open, and we're going to, between now and Pesach, they're going to have a solution to this problem. Now, let me see. Let's see. Shiur Hachana. This looks to me to be incomprehensible.
So tomorrow night's at 8 o'clock and not 8:30?
Yeah, because in order to keep it even for the whole week, it's impossible on one of these schedules to start changing it around all the time. So we made it even at 8 o'clock all the way through. Tomorrow's at 8. Do my chumash earlier. You get double credit if you come on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. You don't even know why. Most of you guys don't even know why you get double credit, but if you live in the outside world, the neighborhood that I live in, the whole world tomorrow is Seiv. It's a Yantif, Chmal Son. So it's Seiv around a Narisha football game. So if you come on, then we're even. I hope they stop this. Or even people who are giving shiurim at halftime. Horrible. So I forgot about this, and I told my chumash chabura that I have to learn on Sunday earlier at 7:30. One guy, of course, particularly piped up. Why is that halftime? Or what? And it could be it is. So now I'm in the chashash of Gzeira of Shemi Yarchei if she's there halftime. Okay, I'm going to go this week. I'm going to try to, it's 10 shiurim. I'm going to try to run through as many of the topics as possible. Rabbi Kallah will speak on Wednesday. I have many examples of my father did not follow sports. My grandfather did not follow sports. My father did follow sports, but he followed back in the Hyman Munkach. He followed football, but it was a totally different football, like everybody other kid in the world. He played soccer. There was no leagues. I don't think. I doubt probably they did. Who knows? During the 1930s, they had for leagues and he lived in at the time it was Czechoslovakia, so they had it. But good for you, Pesach. It's an enormously positive thing because for no other reason, it saves a lot of time. Saves a lot of time. I remember for 25, 30 years saying, sure, I'm here in the West Side. I used to daven at the Yankees. I was a big, growing up as a kid, I was a Yankee fan, but then I used to daven the Yankees not make the World Series because if they did, it would destroy the Shiur for a week and a half. And it was better not to. So not being into sports is a wonderful thing. Or Pesach Ashrecha saves time, and also, as we know, I'm not here to give anybody shkafa, but it's no playing sports is certainly good. Yes, I agree with you. That's what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, whatever it is. I don't know how people are going to come on. So if there's 2 people, I'll over 2 people. 3 people or 3 people. Or whatever.
My wife once commented to me, there are 2 people in the world who don't know who's playing in the Super Bowl, and the other one's in a coma.
I'll tell you, if you really, really want to know, if you're really so chush with Super Bowl, so chush with you, for 98% of people, it's not their team anyway, right? What is it? Who's it? I don't even know what it is. I know one of the Cincinnati. I don't remember who the other one is. So none of us here, I think are from Cincinnati. So it's not your team. The LMI, you want to know because it's a football game. So you can go on half hour after the game is over, and you can press video highlights of the Super Bowl in 5 minutes, and you have the whole game. Since a football game only has, I think, 10 minutes worth of action in the whole game. And you can watch the whole game of B'Shas Ma'aseh. Yeah, so what you answer, Pesach? Who are you rooting for? I would just say, just read textbooks. Excellent, good for you. Okay, everybody say, so we are geblieben here with this shiloh, which I'm going to leave to think about what's the heter for opening up the matzah box. How do we get around tikkun mana and possibly tikkun mana and kareya, and ultimately, is there an isser of matter, and how we get around matter, and how do we open up these boxes? Best to open it up before Yontif. This week, this year is Shabbos, right? Apparently, doesn't make a difference, but because Eichel Nefesh, not same Eichel Nefesh. I want to hear that svara too. Okay, everybody say, Yeshakayach will reconvene tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
No Magidei Shiur Tuesdays and Thursdays?
There are no Magidei Shiur Tuesdays and Thursdays because we don't want to take away from the Yarchei Kallah in Eretz Yisrael. So just the next week in Eretz Yisrael, you'll get shiurim during the day, or you'll get whatever. There'll be 2 shiurim a day. But next week is all, yeah. Rabbi Mordechai, well, I have you on the line here. Do you have the full? Did we send you that full, the whole set of a shifty set on the computer? Do you have that?
I have most of them. You said that there were 9 of them?
I think either 8 or 9. Do you have them downloaded on the computer?
I have them all. I will make them. I'll collect.
Okay, so tomorrow night we need the first one, which is the Mekayah of Chris.
That one we have. We've been using that one.
We've been using that one, right? Mondays. Okay, so we'll do that, but on Monday, I think we're gonna have to use. Probably will still be in number 1, or maybe Monday at some point we're gonna go to Tzibur and Yachid, and then to Pri and Shmiya. That's probably Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll see what else we have. Okay, so see if you can malak those in a way that makes it user friendly. Have them in your file or whatever. Okay, everybody, say everybody. I go to Vach. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
By the way, are Toronto people here
on the line?
No, there are no Toronto people on.
Oh, because he wanted to know where Basha was speaking tomorrow in Toronto. I got the information.
Of Mayim, right?
I'll send this out to people.
Well, who is that? Which show is that? Yeah, Shelbourne. Okay, I told what's his name, Lebovitz, that if he wants, you can organize something for Basha. But I guess it wasn't the day she asked. Very nice. They have nice poster makers, as you can see. Yeshakayach.
Rav Moshe Weiss's Sefer on Shemitah came out.
Oh yeah.
If anybody wants to go buy it.
Okay. Oh, by the way, the Yishurin arrived here in America. I forgot to mention that. That's important because I got a lot of questions. I don't know if Dafka from this year, but the Yishurin came out. It's available in all the stores. And if you live out of town and you don't, the local stores don't get it, you can get it from Big License in Brooklyn. They are happy to send it to you, or just the postage or whatever. And, they charge you the postage, obviously. But, okay, it's if I may say so. It was big covered. It was a very chashuv matzeva for Dov Tzolechik. You'll hear about it a little bit more next show. Everybody have a good night. I'll see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Yeshakayach, Pesach, and Ramot.